So what's the good news for the Congress party then? Well, let's take a look at the graphics, which tells you the good news. The good news is that the Congress party is heading for a remarkable victory in Karnataka as per both the exit polls. One is the Chanakya poll and the other is the C voter poll. Both these polls projecting fairly large numbers. Let's get a word in here from Yashwant, please, on the polls. Your poll particularly.
The numbers are very clear. I mean, it's a big loss of vote, 11% loss of vote for the BJP as far as BJP is concerned. But this loss is directly attributed to the 9% vote approximately with Yediyurappa's party for the first time they are contesting after splitting the BJP. They are actually the main architect of this loss of BJP vote. So the Congress, more or less as far as the vote share is concerned, is almost on the same ground. They have not gained from this spectacular loss of the BJP, which actually clearly tells us that this is not a pro mandate for the Congress. This is basically a loss of the BJP because of the split.
BJP's strategy went wrong. BJP's governance went wrong. But why didn't it work as much for the Congress party? I'll get a reaction. Let's get a reaction from the Congress party. Rajiv Gowda, spokesperson of the Karnataka Congress. Mr. Gowda, good evening. Okay, Mohandas Pai.
Good evening, Arnab.
Mohandas Pai, former director of Infosys and one of India's best-known entrepreneurs, VP of BPAC. Thank you very much, Mr. Mohandas. Very active, by the way, in building, opinion ahead of the election, especially in Bangalore. Abid Rasool Khan of the Congress Party and Meenakshi Lekhi of the BJP. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to look at this result from a national perspective on this Sunday night edition of the News Hour. You are very aware of local factors, but one point was made here at the start, Mr. Rajiv Gowda. I'd like to take that with you. Yashwant Deshmukh says that the BJP is done very badly, but it's not a Congress sweep. Was that the word you used? It's not a Congress sweep if you look at the vote share. Your reaction to that?
Arnab, Karnataka has witnessed a multi-party equilibrium over the last few elections. The GDS is strong in southern Karnataka. The BJP emerged as a force in the last assembly election and a couple of parliament elections. So in every constituency, there is a core, support base for every party. What really matters is the Congress is not just holding on, but increasing its vote share, and it's going to sweep get a majority.
Marginal increase in vote share.
Matters.
It's a marginal increase in vote share.
Hardly.
Yes, it is 37%.
Well, it shows you how competitive Karnataka is.
No, it's hardly about 1% increase of votes. Your seats are increasing, obviously, because the BJP is falling down badly.
The point is that the Congress is still not touching the golden figure of 40% that it had in the 90s. I mean, so in a sense, there is a permanent loss of base which is not able to recoup.
So if in this given situation, Meenakshi Lekhi, if the Congress party says to you that instead of keeping on going on and on and on about Railgate and Coalgate, why don't you look at your own mining gate in Karnataka and what mining gate cost you? Your bad governance, your record in mining, the fact that you've been rejected by the people of Karnataka, the substantial 18 to 20 seats in parliament. Look within instead of pointing the finger at us. Meenakshi Lekhi.
I'm sorry, with the analogy which you have made is absolutely incorrect, because if you go deep into the mining gate falls into the lap of Congress, and it starts with S.M. Krishna before him and post him Dharam Singh. And this is very evident from Mr. Hegde's report also. The chapter pertaining to Mr. Yediyurappa has been quashed by the High Court in spite. Now what we may have lost is the media scam which has been created, because certain irregularities have been shown as scams. Now that's a separate story. We are losing, or if we have made certain a lower percentage of votes or whatever, that is going to Yediyurappa and not to Congress. Don't forget what S.M. Krishna has done in Karnataka. Don't forget Rahmat Khan the scam so far as Waqf properties are concerned.
No, point is,
Mr. Chidambaram,
the point I made was on corruption. No, the point I made was on corruption, that your argument on corruption. Your argument on corruption will not be very convincing in Karnataka.
I'm sorry. A simple alleged blot for BJP seeks a change of a popular leader like Yediyurappa, whereas neither the Colgate, not the 2G, nor anything else cost Congress anything. They are brazen.
No, then why did you ask Yediyurappa to go if you are so regretful of Yediyurappa going?
Because no, I'm sorry. Of course, he's a very popular leader, and that is what is if going by whatever analysis.
Yeah, he's a popular leader who says he will finish you off. He will finish off your party, reduce you to less than 50 seats. I don't know how you can be so sympathetic to him. It appears after the exit poll results, Meenakshi Lekhi, it appears after the exit poll results, you want him back.
It is a strict...
You want him back.
It is strictly political analysis.
You want him back.
It's not a question of going soft.
No. I sense Meenakshi Lekhi. Meenakshi Lekhi, 1 minute. Allow me to come in. I get a sense, Miss Meenakshi Lekhi, though I will not even with the greatest of trepidation try and put words in your mouth. But I get a strong sense that here is the BJP spokesperson who has seen the numbers and realized that get back Yediyurappa, irrespective of whatever the issue is on corruption. And if you were to do that because Narendra Modi is close to Yediyurappa, that means that you are not serious on the issue of corruption, which means in other words that you have no business taking a position on Railgate or Colgate. Miss Meenakshi Lekhi, you put politics first, or you put politics first or ideals first.
I'm sorry, Mr. Goswami. I'm very sorry. Your analysis is incorrect so far as this aspect is concerned.
You've been extremely flattering towards Yediyurappa, more than I expected any BJP spokesperson to be.
I will not mince words when it comes to Yediyurappa, and that's why I'm putting facts and not right now. I think the first day you started, at that time also I pointed it out, the day Lokayukt's report had come. Even at that time I pointed it out that Mr. Hegde had messed up Karnataka for us, and end of the day it is Mr. Hegde who's responsible, and the manner in which everything happened.
Ma'am, you are 1 second. No, I'll get the Congress party in. I'll get the Congress party in. No, one fact is,
just one more point.
Miss Lekhi, let me get the other panelists. Otherwise, the Congress party will say that we are not allowing them to speak.
Our issue is we never wrecked it up.
Miss Yediyurappa, this man Yediyurappa was on Times Now 20 minutes back. I have no doubt that was the man who said, I will have revenge on the BJP. He said, I will take revenge on the BJP. Is your party so weak today that a person who is responsible for a massive scam, you want him back?
Listen,
the tone, Abid Rasool, let me get you. No.
Responsible for scam. He is not responsible for scam.
Ma'am, you're defending him on television today.
You must have the patience to hear me. You must have the patience to hear me.
I mean,
he is not responsible for scam. He is the first chief minister of any state who stopped the iron ore export from the state.
I cannot.
This seems like, Miss Meenakshi Lekhi, this seems like that you are keeping a door open for Yediyurappa's return before the Lok Sabha elections, because Karnataka is a state where you need seats. So are you smoking the peace pipe with Yediyurappa?
Precisely.
Which I gave you in the first place.
Love you anymore.
1 second, Ajay Bose is
in the first place. On Yediyurappa, the mining scam is much made up scam. The scam happened because of Mr. Krishna.
So are you wooing him back, Miss Meenakshi Lekhi?
You're never naming him.
Are you wooing him back before the Lok Sabha elections because you need seats from Karnataka? Are you bending over backwards to get Yediyurappa back?
Ms. Navika, who am I to woo anybody? I think he is a former chief minister. He's been a tall leader of the state. I am nobody to woo him back or throw him out. These are
no, 1 second, Meenakshi Lekhi.
I am only making a
Meenakshi Lekhi is facing a question from Aarti Jairath also. Aarti Jairath to Meenakshi Lekhi. To Abid Rasool, I'm coming to you in a minute.
Meenakshi Lekhi, you are not wooing him, but your party is. You are speaking on behalf of your party. You're representing your party here on this channel tonight.
On a night when corruption is the issue nationally.
Yes, I am only making a political analysis.
Meenakshi, are you representing
who goes out? I think we have to still wait for 8.
No, Meenakshi Lekhi, Sabha Naqvi is asking you something.
Hi, Meenakshi, it's well known there was a division in the BJP leadership. Hi, Meenakshi. Over the issue of Yediyurappa, One section of senior leaders wanted him out. There's another section which thought he should stay in. Otherwise, the kind of damage that you've seen.
Tell me, which sections?
Predicted.
Let's go by the names. Which sections?
Well, it is known. I'll take the names. There's no secret about it. It is known that Mr. Modi is close to Yediyurappa. Yeah, exactly. It is known that Mr. Jaitley argued very seriously in keeping Yediyurappa in the party.
And Mr. Advani and Sushma Swaraj were on the other side.
So, however, they lost the argument and Yediyurappa went. And in the numerical game, they were right. The faction which was arguing to keep him in, if you look at politics as cold numbers, they were correct. He did damage them. He has damaged them. So, Meenakshi, are you sort of speaking up for one faction in the BJP right now? That's my question to you.
I'm sorry, Sabha, on the contrary, I'm speaking for the BJP, and my answer to you is that these questions of somebody coming back or somebody being out or being considered as an independent person is all in the realm of speculation. We are only discussing something which is itself in the realm of speculation. I think everything can be discussed and talked about post 8 when the results are in front.
Can I just get Abid Rasool and then I'm coming back to you.
Okay, sure.
First of all, Meenakshi, you say this is nothing. It's a $3 billion scam. Maybe $3 billion is peanuts for the Bharatiya Janata Party. That's point number one. And point number two is, allow me to complete. Allow me to complete. Allow me to complete. Miss Meenakshi Lekhi.
You are actually making a wrong statement. You are giving 3 billion scam to Yediyurappa. This is an incorrect figure.
I said the mining scam is 3 billion. I'm saying the mining scam is 3 billion.
Who stopped export of ore?
Miss Meenakshi Lekhi, then why did you sacrifice him? Why did you ask him to go?
Because of the battle of perceptions.
Oh my God, Meenakshi. Okay, Abid Rasool. No, Miss Lekhi.
When you people don't show SM Krishna, when you people don't show Dharam Singh,
I'm sorry, Meenakshi Lekhi.
A particular perception.
You're being extremely unfair.
I want to find out, when did you report? When did you, meaning not you in person, but I'm saying media, report that 5 plots in Bangalore belong to Mr. P. Chidambaram? When did you report about Rahman Khan's scam on Waqf Board?
Miss Meenakshi Lekhi, I'll tell you one thing.
No.
I'll tell you one thing. You can say that, at least not on this channel. I don't speak for other channels. On this channel, you very well know that I know the BJP likes to claim that it does investigative journalism, but every scam that you claim to have exposed has been exposed on news channels, and a lot of them on this channel. I want Abid Rasool to respond, please, to the position taken by Meenakshi Lekhi today, and also Mr. Abid Rasool. At the end of the day, the BJP will say, we sacked, look at us, we lost Karnataka. We are losing Karnataka because we took a position on corruption. We are not like the Congress party that is holding on to Ashwini Kumar on the one side and PK Bansal on the other.
Arnav, it was after a long time that I'm seeing my friend Meenakshi Lekhi so agitated, so at loss of words, and so nervous. And the way she is going about it, it is very amusing, trying to defend a party. Nothing wrong in that. She has to do it. But the point here is, apart from the scams, what we have been discussing, there is also lack of governance. There is also very heavy dose of communal politics, which the people of Karnataka has rejected. There is a heavy dose of propping up leaders with communal background and communal indictments, which they are trying to prop onto Karnataka. Karnataka has today decided that it needs governance, it needs secularism, it needs
one second, I'm just coming back to you. I'm just coming back to you. I have big breaking news. No, I have big breaking news. I'm just breaking this news now. I'm getting information that Chinese and Indian armies withdraw simultaneously from face-off point at Dolakbed Oldie sector in Ladakh. Through official sources, we are also hearing that the agreement has been reached after tough negotiations at the higher level from both sides. So just wanted to break that news. I'm going to come back with a little bit more. Yes, please continue. Please continue. You were making your point to Meenakshi. I just wanted to add that in. Yes.
Yes. The second aspect of your question to me was about Ashwini Kumar and Mr. Bansal. I would like to say very clearly that the Congress party has been seized of the matter and they are been speaking about it. And as far as Mr. Ashwini Kumar is concerned, I have been telling on your channel, and the party has also been saying that the Supreme Court will take a call on it. The matter is in Supreme Court and sub judice, and we do not really want to preempt any statement on that. And secondly, regarding Mr. Bansal,
let's talk about Mr. Bansal.
Yes. We have to wait for the CBI inquiry, and if the CBI inquiry indicts him, definitely the party will take it. Now, as far as issues of corruptions are concerned, I am ready for a one-to-one debate with my friend Meenakshi ji on your channel or any channel, because it is a fact that they have been totally mired into corrupt politics and criminal politics, which is very evident in the last 1 year's composition of their party. So I really don't want to spoil a good moment today when we are very happy about the Karnataka thing and go into all that. But because she'll again raise all those issues, I would like to say that I'm ready for a debate on that whenever or whatever.
So this is the first sign I'm getting here of Congress party brazening it out. Meenakshi, your response. I see the Congress party brazening it out. Navika's information also was they will brazen it out, the ministers will not go. Yes, please.
See, this is exactly my point, and this is not the first time this brazening is happening, and this is my response to Mr. Abid Rasool Khan, a dear friend, and I would love to argue with him on issues of corruption and governance, whether it's Karnataka or Delhi or any other state by state, and give me whatever time and
No, don't. The time is here. The opportunity is now. I don't know why both of you are inviting each other. The issue is now. Let's discuss. I say let's discuss. Let's discuss Railgate now. No, let's discuss Railgate now.
I am discussing right now.
Yes.
I am discussing right now, and that is the point I'm making. Now, there was a perception about Yediyurappa being created for right or for wrong. We removed him, and we removed him as a chief minister. Compare it with the present situation. When CBI director has indicted the PMO, has indicted the coal ministry, has indicted the law ministry, the three remain where they are. Supreme Court has made comments which are unheard of about any government, and they are going to give me a lecture on governance. Now, whether we lose or we win, knowing very well the popularity of Yediyurappa, we took a chance on issue of corruption and removed him. Tell me which Congress CM was removed or which minister was removed, because they have conducted their businesses in this fashion.
They have not been indicted anywhere, so why should we remove them?
Why should we remove them?
That is the problem, because you control the CBI. And CBI and the biggest
you are trying to take advantage to Meenakshi ji, the same CBI. You say we control and the same CBI is there acting against anybody who is in corruption.
When it's a war of perception.
Very weak statement on your part.
Mr. Khan, when it's a war of perception,
Meenakshi ji, your party, you should appreciate, your party is the only party in the country where two presidents have been removed for corruption. That is the only party in the country today which has the distinction of two presidents being removed. Your party has the only party which has a distinction where your chief minister is denied visa to US. Your chief minister has cases against him in US. Yeah, your party is the only party where you have a defense minister selling coffins. So please do not go into all that. Today the people have seen through your boycott attitude, your boycott strategy, and started calling you a boycott party of India.
Allegation against BJP chooses to remove. And we suffer because of that. Whereas
there is an allegation, there is criminal cases against your parliamentary party members. There are criminal cases against your General Secretary.
So what are you saying? One second. What are you saying? What about Mr. Abid Rasool? Mr. Abid Rasool. Mr. Rasool, can I come in, please? Mr. Rasool, please hear me. One second. Mr. Rasool, what are you saying?
Sure.
1 second, please. The whole country is asking one question. That in your government, you have a person who is paying 2 crores to become member staff.
As an installment.
He's paying in installments. You have a system in which a corrupt person, a corrupt bureaucrat pays installments. He pays EMIs to get a position which is almost as big. I mean, it has the ex-officio status of the Secretary of the Government of India. And the person then becomes in reckoning to become Rail Board Chairman, by which you have almost got Minister of State rank. And you're in a situation where 10 crore rupees is being offered. 1 minute, to a minister's nephew. 10 crore rupees being offered to a minister's nephew to sell the position, which is one of the most important positions in the Indian Railways. You tell me one thing, Mr. Abid Rasool. How will you justify it? It's all right to justify it by no, 1 second. Beyond saying, listen to me, sir. Beyond saying that the BJP has also been corrupt, which is fine. I'll ask the question to the BJP. I'm asking you, how will you explain it to the people of India that this is normal?
They don't need to explain. That is the trouble. They brazen it.
No, let me answer. Arnab, in the instance where you're talking, the CBI, which Meenakshi ji and others say that is a part of the party and we control it, the same CBI has taken action against an officer who has tried to do something wrong. Now, prima facie, he has been arrested. Prima facie has been removed from the post immediately after the action. And if he is found guilty, he will be put to punishment by the court. So now basically...
So, Mr. Rasool, you take action against an official, but if the finger is pointing towards a minister, you decide to brazen it out. What kind of justice is that?
No, there is no question of brazening it out, or there is no question of protecting anybody. It is a matter where we have to hold an inquiry.
Okay, let's get a couple of other voices. Rajiv Gowda, brazening it out. Will it work? Is it a good strategy?
Rajiv. See, first of all, I'd like to get back to what Meenakshi was talking about, the battle of perceptions and things like that. Karnataka, the BJP is corrupt from head to toe. It doesn't matter whether Yediyurappa, the reason he had to go was because he was indicted by the Lokayukta. He was put in jail for 23 days. There are enough, party president Ishwarappa was found with a cash counting machine when he was raided. There are enough ministers who are out on bail who are got FIRs against them. One of the Reddy brothers is a BJP candidate. So the party is steeped with corruption. Whether Yediyurappa comes back and has a love fest with the old BJP, it's not going to change anything.
No, I think,
and essentially, Karnataka has voted, and rejected the BJP.
Mr. Mohandas Pai, Mr. Mohandas Pai on brazening it out.
Is trying to brazen it out.
Mr. Mohandas Pai first.
Mr. Pai, do you know the number of ministers? Arna, please allow me one line. Mr. Mohandas Pai.
No, that's Rajiv Gowda, not Mohandas Pai.
Ministers who, okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Gowda, Gowda Saab should know better about his own party, where Dharam Singh was involved, and money taken, lease given, that kind of evidence exists in the Lokayukta report. That's one part.
No, I find a very dangerous trend.
Six ministers are being investigated by CBI, and yet nobody is reporting.
No, I find a very dangerous trend, because if they are going to, if what I am seeing here, Meenakshi, please don't mind, all political parties seems to have decided right now, we'll keep pointing the finger at the other direction, we'll brazen it out. So, I know Meenakshi talks about perception.
I'm sorry, you can't say this about BJP.
Well, okay, fine. Despite your being
perception, we removed.
Mohandas Pai. Mohandas Pai.
We are going to suffer.
Mohandas Pai.
We still removed.
Mohandas Pai.
It's contrary. JMM, nuclear deal. You think of anything. Congress is involved.
Mohandas Pai. Mohandas Pai.
Brazen it out. Whether you think of buffers.
Mohandas Pai.
Was tracked after all.
Mohandas Pai.
Anab, don't you feel sorry for the people of this country that you have the two major political powers, political parties pointing fingers at each other, decide who is more corrupt? Not who is not corrupt, but who is more corrupt. Everybody has got scams in both the parties, and both the parties are brazening it out. I mean, it's so sad for this country, so sad for the future of this country. Here are two people saying, you are more corrupt than me, I am more corrupt than you. You had a coffin gate and you had a railway gate. I mean, Anna, what is happening to this poor country?
Coffin gate never happened, Mr. Pai.
And by the way, for 9 years,
look at my state of Karnataka. And that is the scam.
Annab, look at nobody has been indicted for corruption in this country, barring a few, madam. I understand that. Law doesn't work. There's no justice in this country.
No, Mr. Mohandas Pai raises a very valid question. No, you raise a very valid question.
I have a question. Give me the name of person who got indicted in Coffin Gate, and what was Coffin Gate about? Tell me that. You keep building opinion on wrong facts.
Meenakshi, nobody got indicted in Coffin Gate. It's about George Fernandez is supposed to have bought something.
What happened
Meenakshi, but that is not the point. The point is scam after scam after scam. Whether BJP,
Meenakshi, can I please?
All of them are having scams.
Meenakshi, 1 minute. Meenakshi and Mohandas Pai. You see, let's go into contemporary issues. I want to discuss Railgate. I want to discuss Railgate. And by the way, Meenakshi, after having gone on and on about perception, then you are arguing like a lawyer with Mohandas Pai on Coffin Gate. If you are talking perception, then talk perception on that also. 1 minute. One minute. By the way, the viewer wants to talk about Railgate. The viewer wants to talk about Railgate.
Which never happened.
To my panelists in Delhi, in our studio here. 1 minute. I'm coming back to panelists in our studio here. Aarti Jairath, first of all. 1 second. this brazening it out comes at a cost. The cost will be that you have, for example, the food security bill. You have the land acquisition bill. So the Congress party, if it brazens it out, is basically putting the future of this important legislation on the altar. There has to be a rationale for it.
And what we're hearing is that they're going to cut short this session also, which means that the number of working hours is going to be much less.
But it's taking a risk, Karti.
So of course it is taking a risk. But then, you know, as we've seen what's happening, and I think Mohandas Pai made a very valid point, that, you know, I mean, why are they pointing fingers at each other and saying who's more corrupt?
No,
should be talking about honesty, not corruption.
Mr. Ajay Bose.
You know, the main problem here is that the Congress is developing this attitude that you've crossed the pain barrier. The pain barrier.
Pain barrier.
Yeah, so, you know, it really doesn't matter. Any more allegations, any more scams, it doesn't matter anymore. We will bluster through.
No, some people will tell them, some people will tell them that when voting happens on a day when the whole country is talking for 2-3 days on Railgate and Coalgate, and you still get 115 to 130 seats. They will go and they'll tell the party leadership, why do you bother so much about what's being discussed in the media?
Yeah, exactly. And what they will say is that this Karnataka Polls victory just is some kind of vindication for the corruption they're doing at the center. That is the danger.
You think so? You think so?
Of the Congress taking the message of the Karnataka polls.
Message of Karnataka.
Message of Karnataka.
4 months back, when we started publishing the pre-poll surveys for various media outlets, our first projection was about 145 seats for the Congress.
Yeah.
In our exit poll, it is 110 plus something. 4 months of all these gates, so much for the
So you are saying
impact.
it has had an impact?
Yes, I mean, I'm just giving you the absolute numbers. What the gates have cost to the Congress. What the gates have cost. 11 points down BJP, Congress gains only 1 point.
Yeah.
That's the down for the Congress. No. And in our State of the Nation survey on this channel, in this program,
we did that.
That day also I had said, don't confuse Karnataka with the national numbers.
No, I understand that, but I'm looking at the national picture. Rashid Kidwai is sitting there. May I just go to him? Anyway, he's lonely in our Delhi studios. Rashid, great to see you. First of all, thanks for joining our panel. My question is, brazening it out. Brazening it out as a strategy can also have the consequence that your allies will tell you that, look here, when it came to Mr. A. Raja, as the BJP pointed out today, you sacked him. You know, Dayanidhi Maran was also seen to be a Prime Minister's favourite, but you sacked him. But how come your Congress leaders from Punjab have a different logic applied to them? Rashid, what about accountability? Is accountability different for Congress leaders?
Arnab, first of all, you see, if you see Mr. case of Mr. A. Raja or or others, there is always a time period. First, see, even at this point of time, Congress party is very clearly trying to establish money trail. Did it reach to the railway minister? If it has, then there is a watertight case. Minister will have to go. If it has not, see, public perception is different.
Money trail.
If you ask me, morality demanded that Mr. Bansal should have gone on day one. But you look at who started mandate theory. Mandate theory was started by Chaudhry Charan Singh when first, non-Congress government came in 1977. And then 1980, Mr. Gyani Zail Singh becomes Home Minister, and first thing he does is he sacks all, non-Congress governments. So this mandate theory has been established by Chaudhry Charan Singh and Gyani Zail Singh. And we are following that. Entire political culture is following that. That once a mandate comes, we think it glosses over all acts of corruption or wrongs. And there should be a debate on that.
No, I'm very sorry. Rashid, you are far more experienced than I am. But, you go by the rule book. The appointments of the chairperson of the board, the members and general managers of the railways are handled directly by the railway minister, and hence P.K. Bansal having appointed him. It's not an offer of an appointment. Having appointed him cannot disengage from this controversy.
And secondly, you're talking about a money trail. You're talking about a money trail. The money trail has landed at his nephew's doorstep. The nephew is the political aid of the minister.
There's no money trail proven.
The nephew has got the money. That's why he's under arrest.
Ajay Bose.
Why should anybody bribe this man if he is not in a position to make this appointment?
No, what if he says, I'm very sorry, trying to be devil's advocate and put myself in the very remarkably slippery shoes of Mr. P.K. Bansal. If he says, what do I do? Is it my fault that I have a terrible nephew?
But the nephew can only operate through him.
No, but
the nephew is his political aide. He looks after his constituency business. It's proven that their sons actually do business together.
They have for Mr. Bansal that it's not this guy is clean. What can he do if he has a
shut case?
One second. Two bits of breaking news that we have here this evening. Very newsy evening. One is I've just got a statement. Shri Manish Tiwari, Information and Broadcasting Minister, will be making an official statement of the residents at Lodi Gardens shortly. That's statement number one. Navika had breaking news about the meeting this evening happening at 11
p.m. 11 p.m. is when there is an emergency meeting of the Congress MPs and spokespersons. Manish Tiwari clearly likely to give the information of this meeting and the fact that they will take on very, very belligerently the opposition, which has been making charges, and the Congress party clearly seems to have made up its mind to brazen it out.
Well, I think someone who wants to brazen out on this issue with Rashid Kidwai is very sympathetic position towards Mr. P.K. Bansal is Hartosh Singhbal. Mr. Hartosh, would you like to brazen it out with Rashid Kidwai?
Quite clearly, you take any kind of evidence. Mr. Bansal is sitting in a ministry where the investigation is happening. The entire trail of how that posting took place is in that ministry. I mean, by the simplest argument, he should be moved out.
No, what if the government says that this man, Mahesh Kumar, whatever his name is, he meets the eligibility criteria?
Well, that is precisely the question that has to be investigated right now. How did this appointment take place? What was the money trail? Who influenced whom? All that has to happen in terms of looking into that investigation. There is no way that you can prejudge that issue.
Eligibility criteria, why did you have to pay 90 lakhs?
I'm not in disagreement with you. But what happened in the house of Defence Minister when Telka happened? And what did that government of the day did? It was such a huge time gap before.
One second, Meenakshi, respond to that.
What I'm saying is that both political parties are.
Meenakshi, no, this is an interesting strategy, Meenakshi.
We look at it.
I can't hear it very well, but he said something about
the rationale of it. That's not my position.
The kind of news business Tehelka has been involved in, it has never found anything against Congress, which is very surprising. They never sent the money packets to the Congress people. They never supplied women to Congress MPs. They never engaged Congress MPs in any false trade of arms, because I'm sure people in Congress know exactly that 1 lakh of rupees is not even a peshgi amount.
But it was accepted by your honorable ex-president.
Of course.
That peshgi amount was very gratuitously accepted by Bagaru Lakshmanji.
Greed is very different from crime. The crime happens when a particular deal happens and there is quid pro quo. That's a separate debate. But let me tell you something. I was hearing about Mr. Bansal. I have three things to say. One, Mr. Bansal was the authority which was responsible for any appointment. Number two, his nephew is his election manager and has business dealings with Mr. Bansal's son. So quite clearly, the money trail lands at Mr. Bansal's office and home. Number three, the Congress has been running businesses.
Why are you blaming
son-in-laws or through wives or through nephews? And in those conditions, I think a very credible question is whether the business is supposed to be run from offices or the residence or through the rishtedars.
No, but
the next point is that when this particular aspect is happening, when Amit Shah, when Amit Shah was to be removed, especially when CBI was investigating the case and Home Minister or the local police had nothing to do with the matter, he was removed from Gujarat.
No, I have enough examples to question you on.
These people need to be removed.
Abid Rasool.
All these people need to be removed.
Yeah.
Abid Rasool. Abid Rasool, can you hear me?
A fair
Abid Rasool.
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, 1 second. Fair probe is all right, Meenakshi. Meenakshi, problem is that you have one set of rules for yourself and one set for the others, because when allegations against Nitin Gadkari were put out, when Times Now put out a 19-part investigation, Sushma Swaraj at that point of time had tweeted, it is unfair and unjust to accept these allegations as true without a probe. Thus, today the BJP cannot demand the railway minister's resignation without a probe. And 1 minute, if somebody tells you today, if somebody tells you today, Meenakshi, if somebody tells you today, allow me 1 minute, if somebody tells you today, Nitin Gadkari offered himself to a probe, so Bansal is also opening up to a probe. So?
And I'll tell you a legal distinction, and that should go very well because it's a.
Why are you arguing legally? Argue politically.
I think you are.
I'm arguing politically also. Was Mr. Gadkari in any position to influence a probe which was being conducted by a hostile government?
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Now Mr. Rasool will respond. That's a fair.
That's a fair point.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, that's a fair point by Meenakshi. That this thing, as you know, Hartosh just pointed out, it is impossible for a railway minister to continue in his position when his own nephew is being investigated for something which he seems to have collaborated in. Now, it is, the least they can do.
Fine.
The least they can do that.
I want to understand the logic of brazening it out, because when in April 2000, let me, Abid Rasool, April 2010. No, April 2010, IPL scam. Remember, it was here on Times Now. Right? We're not very popular with the people who lost their jobs at that point of time. Now, the fact is that Shashi Tharoor was forced to resign in a case where he himself had not misused his office. The allegation was against him was related to the alleged sweat equity given to his wife in a Kochi IPL team.
And that time she wasn't his wife.
No, fine. That time she wasn't his wife. So my question is, why should PK Bansal and Ashwini Kumar be spared the axe? And why has your logic changed between 2010 and 2013?
Arnab, it is very surprising that you don't even let me put forward my points, and secondly, you don't let our party take a call on it. The issue is that Bansal's issue has happened day before yesterday. After that, the party is discussing it, party is looking at it, the CBI has made an investigation. Whatever will be appropriate and apt and in lines with our policy of our party, in keeping up the probity of the situation, we will definitely take action. It will be there before you. But the impatience on the panels, the impatience in BJP is surprising. Yes, impatience. You don't even want to wait for a couple of days for the party to take a call on such an important issue. Even in the matter of Ashwini Kumar, let me complete it. Even in the matter of Ashwini Kumar, we have given an affidavit. The same CBI has given an affidavit. That affidavit is clear of what has happened. Now, based on that, whatever will be the remarks of the Supreme Court or the orders of the Supreme Court, we will accept it.
Sir, I'm very sorry, sir. The media will be impatient. The media is not an extension of any political party. And the same media earlier...
I'm coming to you.
The media will not ask questions depending upon how it is convenient to the government.
Even in the issue... even I'm coming to you. Give me a minute. Even in the issue of China... Today I'm seeing the breaking news on your own channel that the Chinese have gone back, and I was grilled for days together.
Now you take credit for that.
And I had been defending that we were doing a diplomatic talk on that.
I'm sorry, I can equally argue that if the case had not been put up in the media, you would have never given attention on it.
You cannot reach conclusions.
Well, I don't...
And Meenakshi ji today...
But Mr. Rasool, are you saying you only react after the court?
Basically, she is just trying to hog the time. She is just trying to hog the time to see that other panelists don't speak.
The message came from Mr. Shinde and from Mr. Salman Khurshid. The two statements came in. One was Mr. Shinde said, these things keep happening at the border, and at that day, that day, I tweeted that if that means it's of a temporary nature, if government knew this is of temporary nature, why was it broken to the
implications of brazenness?
When are the Chinese leaving?
1 second, let's get the other panelists in. Let's get the other panelists in.
Every day you come with a new stand.
1 minute.
And on purpose.
1 minute, Nirja, Mohandas Pai. 1 minute. I am going next to Mohandas Pai and Nirja and to Mr. Rajagopal, who have all been listening patiently. I want to go to Mohandas Pai first. Mr. Mohandas Pai, in your first intervention today, you said this is what the country is expecting. Today, I find that brazenness will perhaps become the biggest issue, because there is a section of politicians today who probably feel that giving in is a sign of weakness. Giving, accepting fault, which was at one point of time a celebrated thing to do, to take the high moral ground, is not customary anymore. It is seen to be the wrong and weak thing to do.
Absolutely, Arnab. Standing up for corruption is seemed to be the thing to do. I'm very curious, what would Jawaharlal Nehru have done in such a circumstance? We had him of a Prime Minister for 14 years. And what would he have done? And what did the party of which he was a great member do now, considering what Jawaharlal Nehru have done? Now, brazening it out. Remember, the same party when Lal Bahadur Shastri resigned because of a rail accident is now defending a minister who is hauled up by the Supreme Court, a minister whose political agent has been caught with a bribe, saying the inquiry is not over. I mean, they are brazening it out. I mean, Everybody thinks that corruption is okay, it's part of the normal business. But let's go on.
But very nice question.
You have to concede that you need to give time for an inquiry. You cannot just expect that as soon as something happens, a reaction should happen along with it.
No, please ask me, what would Jawaharlal Nehru have done if a cabinet minister was accused?
Mr. Abid Rasool, one line. One line, Mr. Abid Rasool.
Can I come in here? I just want to make an observation
on the floor of the parliament that he has nothing to do with the lady concerned who had accepted the sweat equity and later he married her and you have reinstated him. What kind of moral high ground can you take?
Now, 1 second. Now, my question is, we're not discussing the IPL scam. My question to... No, I will keep it contemporary. I want to discuss railway.
You do not want to have a debate there.
You want to
take the issues to the public. You want to bring parliament onto the roads.
You see, one second, sir. 1 second, sir. Mr. Abid Rasool, Mr. Abid Rasool, I am amazed at your outrage, because the people of this country are asking some questions. So the question is this, that the appointments committee of the cabinet goes by the recommendation of the railway minister. First of all, Navika, congratulations on getting it first. That's superb news. I had to say that on air because by the clock you broke it at 7:14. It's 8:52, which means you're about 1 hour 40 minutes ahead of the government of India, which is not bad.
That's right, 90 to 100 minutes ahead of the announcement that's coming from
and at a time when every other channel was simply putting the story out that the government's going to sack these 2 ministers, and we're not very subtle about claiming that we were right. We never have been a subtle channel, but that's a fantastic news break. Navika, fantastic. Congratulations for that. Let's go across to Nirja, who's been waiting for a long time. By the way, government brazening it out will be the theme. Nirja, you wanted to make a point. I think we've been proven right. What will be the ramifications of this?
Points, Arnab. Yeah. Number one, obviously the government has decided the ministers will not take moral responsibility.
Yeah.
The government has also decided that they are now going to fight back. And they are marshalling their forces to call the MPs at 11 o'clock at night, within hours to have a new team of spokespersons. And it seems that Rahul Gandhi has had a decisive say. You have Raj Babbar, you have Shakil Ahmed, you have Mohan Prakash coming in. So they've really thought through how this operation is going to be conducted. And they also think that there's a possibility of adjourning the House earlier than 10th. And certainly Karnataka exit polls seem to have put new life into the Congress, that they must now take this route. So all that goes to give them a little bit of time. Now the critical day is going to be May 8th, when the Karnataka results come, and also the Supreme Court will give its verdict. Depending on how much or little the Supreme Court censures the government, the fate of Mr. Ashwini Kumar hinges on that. And I think, given the way the situation is positioned today, if one minister goes, the other one will also have to go. But for the moment, the Congress and the government have got at least
Mr. Rajagopalan,
3-4 days.
Mr. Rajagopalan is in our studios as well.
There is a difference between Congress and the government, Arnab. Now Prime Minister has won because he wanted to shield the 2 corrupt ministers who have been taken money. For A. Raja, there is another law. For Pawan Kumar Bansal, there is another law.
No, but you can't say taken money. That's
double standard.
No, that's all right.
There is a great amount of
watch
between Prime Minister and the Congress.
Well, there are question marks on the ministers for their conduct, but I don't think you can say that they have taken money at this stage.
That he has taken money or he is not. This is right. You cannot do that.
That is his perspective.
10 crores.
No, that is your perspective, not ours.
Raja did not take 10 crores.
No, fine. That is your. You make a point that Mr. Rajagopalan, you have made a point.
Took that money.
You have made a point. That is your perspective, not ours. I have no independent information to prove the same. But we are on the larger point of brazenness. No, watch. I just want to give one word to our guest panelists in Bangalore. Brazenness. Rajiv Gowda, short term it will work. Long term, will it work?
Arnab, the experience of the BJP being rejected in Karnataka clearly indicates that no brazenness is going to work. Yeah. Essentially, it's only a clean government that is going to do a great job of coming back. And I think the Congress is going to work.
But what about the Congress brazenness?
Yourself admitting that brazenness is not going to work. Last word to Mohandas Pai. I have to take a break before that and I come back at 9. Mr. Pai.
Arnab, the people of India have a long memory. They are given the verdict in Karnataka because of corruption and because of the political split. They're waiting to give the verdict for India, and if the UPA government continues on its path of shielding corrupt people, obviously the people of India are going to say no to them. So let's wait. They can't fool the people all the time.
But last word, Yashwant.
Few days back, we said at the center, Congress is losing, BJP is not winning. Today, we have seen BJP has lost in Karnataka 11 points. Congress has not gained a 1 point on that.
But
so much for the parties.
But they've got the seats.
But so much for the corruption, the issue of corruption. What I'm trying to say, Arnab, that on this particular issue, this issue is actually for any party to be there on this issue is irrelevant.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a short break. Is the government going to gain if it decides to brazen it out? This is the story on one side. Congress party is brazening it out. On the other, the Congress party is encouraged by 2 exit polls, both on Times Now First, which are both projecting a very positive story for the Congress party. Our psephologist Jayamrug will analyze these exit polls and why the Congress party should, be encouraged by this.
Yeah. What's frankly happening is the Congress doesn't seem to be gaining more in terms of votes. But the sheer split of the opposition and the dent that Yediyurappa has caused in the BJP base is causing the BJP to go down substantially. A swing of 11% against the BJP that takes the BJP to a tally of something like 47.
Yeah.
And the Congress just touching the halfway mark at 112. The other poll giving the Congress 132.
Yep.
This is very similar to 1999 when the Congress got 132 seats and the BJP was at 44. So in a way, no big gains for the Congress in terms of base, but it just rides through as a default opposition.
Very interesting. Rajiv Gowda of the Karnataka Congress, spokesperson of the Karnataka Congress, is debating this very briefly with Dhananjay Kumar, chairperson of the campaign committee of the KJP. He's Yediyurappa's man. Mr. Dhananjay Kumar and Rajiv Gowda. I had the pleasure of speaking to Mr. Yediyurappa earlier this evening, and he said, no government in Karnataka can be formed without me, Mr. Dhananjay Kumar. But it seems the Congress party just won't need you at all to form the government.
No, it is only a myth. I can tell you, on the 8th, when actual counting takes place, you will come to know that what my leader, Mr. Yediyurappa, has said will come true, and people of Karnataka would like to see Mr. Yediyurappa as the future chief minister, and they will give him number of seats as required to become the chief minister.
How can you become chief minister with 15 seats out of 224?
Baba, yeah, now please.
It's ambition. Ambition is very good. Ambition is evergreen among politicians, but
ambition is rising from Yediyurappa, who said we'll simply be the single largest opposition.
Let's get a little reaction from our panelists, please.
No, I am not.
No, Mr. Dhananjay Kumar, our panelists were amused.
Yeah.
Terribly amused by your projections, Hartosh.
Let them be. Let them have the pleasure for 2 more days. But on the 3rd day, that is on the 8th, when actual counting takes place and
okay, let's get the
public, we will all be astonished.
Usually, exit polls have known to go wrong.
Yeah, but not so
wrong. Not this wrong. I mean, 15 can't be translate into 90 or 100 or 150.
Precisely.
I mean, clearly the exit polls are showing exactly what everybody has anticipated. There are certain areas where you have a certain base within a certain community. That is where you are doing well, and you don't have a base in the rest of the state. How do you expect to get these numbers in any case?
Arnab, it's a bit absurd, the whole position that's taking, but this is what politicians do. Yediyurappa is saying the same thing. So, but I don't think there's anything serious to discuss about this. Yeah. What is important about his party is that they have, for a small party, which is a newly launched party, they have shown that they have the support of a particular community.
Well, and
that is important today in the way politics.
So they can't be written off.
They can't be written off as a player.
Aarti, were you surprised at Mr. Yediyurappa's confidence today? And do you think the Congress party will go to him if they need him? Because they've had a longer association with the JDS, but the JDS is known to be a very difficult ally which does not keep promises.
Absolutely, and I think Yediyurappa has been making fairly soft statements on the Congress, in this whole sort of run-up to his exit from the BJP. And even today he indicated that he would be ready to do business with the Congress if necessary.
He'd be ready to.
But I would like to point out that there is a unanimity in the exit polls on what the results are going to be. And I think it's pretty clear that the Congress is you know, well set to form the government. It may not need either Yediyurappa or JDS. I mean, it may need to make up the figures, if at all, then it can get those 1 or 2 or 3 independents. So
well, Mr. Rajiv Gowda, it appears with the Congress party deciding to brazen it out and the fact that scams pretty much don't matter when it comes to real politics, which seems to be the strategy in Delhi. In that given situation, would the Congress party consider, you know, seeking the help of Mr. Yediyurappa, whose name is featured prominently in the mining scam? Would you be happy to do business with Mr. Yediyurappa?
I'd like to point out.
Yes.
Not at all. First of all, I'd like to point out that this whole argument about brazenness is essentially all of you sitting in there and jumping the gun. Here is a Congress party that is investigating, trying to find out what's happening. And if you can't wait for 2-3 days, it's just, you know, you're just labeling brazenness.
No, but is Mr.
Yediyurappa is not someone we will turn to.
You will not turn to him.
Yediyurappa is not someone we will turn to.
Ever.
We will not have to, we don't have the need to turn to him.
No, ever.
Because essentially the Congress is going to come in with a majority. The Congress is clearly, the exit polls are clearly indicating that. We don't need anybody else. And if you ever need anybody else, as somebody pointed out just now, there are independents or, you know, parties which are small may even split. And the more tainted left behind, you know, that sort of thing could happen too.
Right.
None of those things are necessary. The Congress is going to come in with a majority. So let's just wait for another 3-4 days.
Is he expecting the government to go after May 8th?
Hello.
That is
yes, Mr. Kumar.
I'd like to ask a question to Rajiv.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Rajiv Gowda, other day you yourself admitted that Congress at any rate will not cross 80. And today you are talking something altogether new.
Mr. Dhananjay Kumar, I did not say that ever.
Yeah,
I've always said that we're going to get a clear majority. I don't know where. Please send me the tape, okay, where you came across this.
Please,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Rajiv, please wait for 2 more days.
On national TV, to make these kinds of allegations, to make the kinds of statements
I'm not trying to make allegations.
People will be wondering what kind of
I'm not trying to make allegations
are available to you. Yeah.
Please wait for 2 more days.
So we'll wait.
See the truth.
Happily, sir.
Okay, we'll wait for 2 more days. We'll wait for 2 more days. A little bird told me, Mr. Dhananjay Kumar, that on the social medium called Twitter, your party chairperson also said that if the BJP gets a little less than 50 seats, I will quit politics. I had the pleasure of asking him the questions 4 times, and he told me I never said anything like that.
See,
so politicians tend to forget.
Try to be put in the mouth of... Arnab, you know, sometimes some things are quietly tried to be put in the mouth of the leaders, and they say that, yes, you had said this on such and such time.
I wouldn't put my foot in anyone's mouth, I wouldn't let anyone put a foot in my mouth. Thank you very much. But Dhananjay Kumar and Rajiv Gowda, thanks. It's great talking to you. Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen.